Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Triple R Show, Real Raw Recovery. My name is Mike, and I will be your host, and you've come to the right place where healing meets honesty every single day. We are going to discuss something that everybody needs, whether you are in recovery or not, and that is resilience. And last week, we spoke about purpose and us all having a purpose and having to find it. And with resilience, we all need it, but we have to build it. And resilience is not pretending like we're invincible or that there is nothing wrong. It's becoming aware that you are going to face challenges in life. You are going to face storms that are going to come your way. And being able to identify that with the tools that you learn here, you'll be able to recognize those challenges. And sometimes it may be loss. Sometimes it might be temptation. It might be self-doubt. And a lot of the challenges that we face, we're going to be able to handle and control, because the only thing we can't control is ourselves. Obviously, with loss, we can't control loss. That's a part of life. But with temptation, early recovery, if people, places, and things are an issue for you, then you need to make a choice not to be involved in those areas. And self-doubt, you have a choice to develop your self-esteem, so you're not going to have that self-doubt. Now, we've gone over it numerous times about getting in front of the mirror and giving yourself positive affirmations and doing a gratitude list. And all of those ants are going to start disappearing, and they're not going to lead to storms. They use the phrase that a lot of ants equal an elephant. So if you don't deal with these small little issues and you're unprepared for them and you're frustrated and you let them build up, then all of a sudden you have this elephant on your shoulder. And we all know when you get that elephant on your shoulder and you're ill prepared, that's going to lead to a relapse, which is what we want to prevent. And the key is going to be awareness. And the difference between giving up and growing up is how we feel about ourselves and our response to situations, because we always can choose how we respond when things arise. So in recovery, we're building a resilience every single day. When we decide to do the work, when we decide to wake up and get in front of the mirror, when we decide to give ourselves affirmations, when we decide to breathe, when we decide to take a step back, these are all tools that enhance our awareness, enable us to be able to see situations in a different view. And sometimes that might not be your view. And again, that's control. We need to let go of that. And everyday situations are going to be handled much more easily. It always comes down to the triangle. You know, our triangle is not just a logo. All right. Our triangle is a way of life. And if you follow the legs on that triangle, it's going to change your life. And I know you hear that. Well, I don't know if you're on Instagram or Facebook or you listen to other people or some counselors. Transformational therapy and following the principles of the legs of this triangle will 100% change your life. Because when you don't adhere to this, we'll start with power. All right, you have the power to make this change. When you don't and you insist that you're powerless or you have powerlessness over something, then you're playing the role of a victim. And when we don't accept responsibility and accountability, then we are absolutely playing the victim role. And when we play the victim role, then you are absolutely going down the road that's going to lead to a relapse. With choices, we have a choice as to whether or not we're going to react in the situation one way or another. Are we going to fly off the handle, or are we going to recognize the situation, process it, and then, like in the 4 agreements, be careful with our words, be careful with what you say. And don't just shoot out from the lip, because anything you put out into the universe, people, is going to be out there. So use your mind, think, and then evaluate the situation again further. And then with combining choice and responsibility, any storm that you find yourself in, you need to ask yourself and be honest with yourself, well, what was my role in it? Because there's a good chance, and I know for me personally, anytime I find myself in a situation, I say, well, what did I look for responsibility. I go down the line until I find out where I was responsible for the events that are occurring. And most of the time it's because of the choices that I had made. And the choices that I had made basically because of how I felt about myself. So take the responsibility. There are no excuses in this work. Because in order to change, you don't have to be special. You just have to be committed, work hard, and you have to have a desire for the result. Now, it's hard to see that in different stages of our recovery. All right. But if you are committed to yourself and you put the work in, then you will absolutely reap the benefits of it, and you won't stop doing that work. We've spoken about tools that can assist you in building your resilience. And that's all going to start with how you feel about yourself. And are you comfortable in your skin in making choices? Do you have the knowledge and the awareness to make choices that are going to positively affect you and the loved ones that are around you, or any situation that you find yourself in? And that starts every morning and every night in front of the mirror. Again, we've discussed that numerous times. It's our gratitude list. For me, sometimes just taking a break, and for 3 seconds before I talk, just take a step back and maybe listen to other people, which is a foreign concept to a lot of us, because a lot of us don't want to hear what other people have to say. A lot of people that are dealing with addiction have control issues. When you are listening to someone else, does it mean that we absolutely have to agree with what they say? No. Do you have a chance of maybe learning something new? Of course you do. So again, that's the learning process that you can go through with this work. Then we have to remember, when you are struggling and when things look uphill, remember where you are today, and remember where you have been at your worst and survived. And remember that you are stronger than you give yourself credit for. We are all stronger than we think we are. We have the power. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I choose to rise in the face of the storms. And I am aware that the storms are coming. Now, how big the storms are, that depends on me, and that depends on you, in our awareness and our preparation of knowing that storms are going to come, because life is not linear. Right? Things are going to happen in life. We just want it to be small waves. And this work prevents the ups and downs, which can drive us crazy. And patience plays a big part in this work as well. And when we let go of control, we need to remember to be patient. And it's not about being perfect. It's about persisting. And if it doesn't work, you try again. Doesn't work, you try again. Key to everything in life, no matter what you're doing, the more you do it, the more successful you are at it. And I remember in my personal journey, when I first was introduced to transformational therapy, I had a lineage of things that I had to get done, and it seemed overwhelming. And I was like standing in the middle of the storm, just with nowhere to go. And I was saying to myself, what am I possibly going to do? And then I had started doing this work, and then I started looking at the issues and the things that I had to take care of. And I was the root of almost every single thing, not almost every single thing, but every single thing that I was dealing with were based on my actions, which gave me a sense of empowerment. And I took that power and I took that drive and I used that, and I took small steps, baby steps. And one thing took care of itself, and then the next thing and the next thing. And then before you know it, that's where your momentum comes in, and you start getting to the point where you're going to be with transformational therapy, where you're going to be happy and you're going to be peaceful and you're going to have serenity. So be kind to yourself. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time, but it does happen. So to close it out, ladies and gentlemen, remember, resilience is not going to prevent you from falling and from situations happening. Resilience is going to enable you to get back up every single time. So be passionate in the work, be patient with yourself, be committed, and stay grounded. And make sure you stick around for the miracle to happen, because the miracle will happen with this work. So again, thank you for joining us on the Triple R Show, Real Raw Recovery, where honesty meets healing every single day. Please continue to follow us at real_raw_recovery, and email me at michael@realrawrecovery.org. And you can find our podcast on all streaming devices. Be strong and rise, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great week. Bye-bye.